How you doing, citizens of Vernon? Mark Carlisle here. It's Friday, November 21st, 2:25 p.m. approx. Past 3 years in Vernon, I've lost my life. I've been microchip implanted by my MD 3 years ago. It's a class 2 implant. It's a spy chip. I transmit and receive, and I'm GPSed. I had attempts on my life, and law enforcement never contacted me. I dug up information on old murders in Vernon, and the Vernon Police Department didn't want to know. When I tried reporting being assaulted in John Kavanaugh's store, the Vernon Police Department didn't want to know. Even though I was given death threats and walked to Hartford Hospital, the Vernon Police Department didn't want to know. Even though this frauded the state of Connecticut thousands of dollars, no one wanted to know. The state of Connecticut wouldn't make what's wrong right, and they allowed the system to be frauded thousands of dollars. My MD wouldn't make what's wrong right, and she knowingly, willingly committed federal crimes against me and told me to keep my mouth shut. I want the citizens of Vernon to know that the RFID transponder microchip in me, I get two-way transmission. I go through mind control. I want you to know that through the transmissions, I was told that Doug Mace and Mike Bell were raping my sister. The next morning at 7 a.m., I received a text from my father stating I was going to end up in a body bag, and he heard it from Doug Mace. And the Vernon Police Department didn't want to know. The night before, when Roger Tulsis, a private investigator, contacted me from California, the Vernon Police Department happened to be across the street, and I was being choked with the technology and losing my bowels and losing consciousness. And the Vernon PD was across the street blinking their flashlights. Now, I want you to know, electronic harassment, what they do is they fire your pineal gland faster than normal, so it causes electrostress burnout syndrome. And I want you to know that I'm going through this, and this goes back to Homeland Security and the Vernon Police Department, and that I caught Mike Percaro knowingly, willingly committing federal crimes on the citizens of Vernon, and Danny Champagne, the mayor and the Vernon Police Department, and James Kinney. They knowingly, willingly committed federal crimes against me, and I've been threatened not to come forward. Officer Landry confirmed that I had a bomb in me. But the thing is, she never talked to one person who wanted to give a statement on my behalf. So through the transmissions, when I was given death threats and walked to Hartford and told I had a bomb in me, the police told me they knew I had a bomb in me, but they never talked to me or my witnesses. So how would they know? Well, one night, through the technology, these people wanted me to go behind the old courthouse, the old police department, behind the TKB on Brooklyn Street, and they wanted me to get stoned and take a piss. At the exact same time, a Vernon police cruiser was backing in across from Brooklyn Street Apartments, and I saw him backing in. I walked away. At the same time as I walked away, the people realized through the technology I wasn't falling for their trap, and the cruiser drove away. You understand the connections through the technology? Now think about this. In the process, when this process started in the beginning, I was in Henry Park one night, and a police officer tapped a nightstick on the tree. How would he know I was there? Only through the technology or tapping my cell phones would he know how to reach me. But I want you to understand the corruption, the death threats, and the federal crimes against me, and that law enforcement in Vernon is phony, fake, and make-believe. They knowingly, willingly allowed federal crimes to be committed against me, and they knowingly, willingly allowed the state of Connecticut to be frauded thousands of dollars. And even though John Kavanaugh, Mike Bell, Doug Mace, and Mike Earl threatened me with the technology and showed me the technology, they didn't want to know. And even though Stephen Langlis was in Mike Bell's apartment the week before the technology started, and Langlis jacked me up in Antonio's doorway, Vernon P. didn't want to know because they had to cover up their crimes. But I want the citizens of Vernon to know the truth on what you're paying for and the corruption. Danny Champagne's people told me to look at it like a new day on the job. They wouldn't make what's wrong right. So that's your mayor's office as corruption. But since the town council a few years ago gave one of their nephews $1,000 to burn Roosevelt Mills down, that's how things work in Vernon. You have to understand, when the F.B.I. asked me for proof, I told them I'd give them rock solid proof. Now we got a problem is the FBI's afraid because I can prove that the Talon County Courthouse is corrupt. Matt Gdansky and Cindy Bear, you're corrupt. You knowingly and willingly allowed federal crimes to be committed against me. You knowingly, willingly allowed me to be falsely imprisoned. You knowingly, willingly allowed me to be stalked by Doug Mace and Mike Bell. And you knowingly and willingly turned your back on felonies and federal crimes. And I know that the citizens of Vernon are being railroaded into the courthouse with silent sound technology. That's why the cops are up on everyone. Because they don't have the brains to do it themselves. They're using technology because they're failures. They're losers. When I caught someone on the roof of Beacon, they told me it was all in my head, even though the pharmacist was like the guy's right there. And even though someone broke into the barber shop through the roof a week earlier, they let the guy go. But that's your competent police in Vernon. Remember, when Doug Mace was stalking me, they wouldn't talk to him. Remember, I had people who want to give signed, sworn statements on my behalf, but Vernon PD won't talk to them. Think about that. I have federal crimes committed against me, and Vernon Police Department plays stupid because they're corrupt. Well, Chief Kenny, you're corrupt. You represent your police department. Danny Champagne, you're corrupt. You represent these people. I gave you 3 years and you didn't make what's wrong right. When I gave Norm, the courthouse guard, a DVD asking for help, reporting these crimes, he was reamed out by Matt Gdansky and a large group of people. That tells you that the courthouse knowingly, willingly allowed me to be a federal crime victim. They knowingly, willingly frauded the state of Connecticut, and they knowingly, willingly committed federal crimes. And they turn their back on the citizens, on Americans, and the system. It shows you these people are corrupt by their own inaction and action. Remember, I reported these crimes before they happened, during, and after. The courthouse, the police department, or the state of Connecticut, or the FBI wouldn't make what's wrong right. And the FBI knowingly, willingly covered up the murder of American citizens. Now I want you to look up this. The Very Chip Company, Digital Angel, RFID transponder model 690, EEG heterodyning, silent sound, and psychophysical weapons or psychotronic weapons. This is what's being used against me. My MD microchipped me, but no one will remove it. I'm held hostage in my own body, kidnapped, but they won't make what's wrong right. It's a spy chip. It's used for investigations. And the people doing this to me are threatening me with Wallen's Ridge or death. I'm not allowed anything. You have to understand how this technology works, and I'm being tortured, and I go through pain. And I get the shit beat out of me every day, and I can't get help from technology. While your federal government knowingly, willingly murders Americans and other people on the planet, and they commit genocide for their own agenda. Think about this, America. I'm running short on time for this. 9/11, World War II, and Vietnam were all rigged. That's your federal government stepping out of line. And I'll fill it in the cracks. I'll get back to you, but think about it.